store here with everything going on with new changes here. All right, so I'm going to take myself off screen and we are going to go ahead and dig into virtual leasing and some best practices that we have. We're also going to get into some Zoom meeting trainings, hence the reason why we're in a go-to meeting today, so we can show you the Zoom. We wouldn't be able to show a Zoom while we were on a Zoom. So, but Danielle has assisted with that, so she's going to go ahead and do that part here in a little bit. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So like I said, we have been working the last few weeks just to kind of go through some best practices. We've been seeing what else is out there, what other companies are doing, what other communities are doing. So we want to give you the best of what we know so far in this journey. We know this is, fairly new. We've kind of dabbled a little bit in this, but now we're kind of full force into it at the moment. So as we go through, take notes, take screenshots should you want. I also have resources for you guys following this that will be some notes of things that we've talked about and also some deliverables. I'm getting a little bit of echo there. So if you guys don't mind just muting yourselves, but feel free to unmute if you have any questions, any point in this PowerPoint here. But like I said, I will have some resources available following that I will send out to everybody. So with that, let's talk about virtual leasing. When we talk about virtual leasing, there's two main things that we're going to get into, and I'll kind of talk about that here a little bit forward. But before we get into it, I wanted to just give a big thank you. A big thank you to all of you right now that is on this webinar. This is hard work, right? We're trying to figure this out all together, and everything's changing. So thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for being flexible. Thank you for being patient with us, understanding, and thank you for being, creative in this. You guys are creating experiences right now for your residents, new future residents, prospects. So, this is all pretty new. So thank you for everything you guys are putting forward into this. I also wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to Casey at Crescent Center, Josh at Bradford, Megan at Villas at Bailey Ranch, Ashley at Streets, and Sherry at Park Laureate. So all five have really been helping a lot to help develop this webinar that you're on today. Like I mentioned, the last couple of weeks, we have been shopping the comps, shopping just other property management companies, seeing how other people are doing this right now. I think everybody is saying they're doing virtual leasing, but in our efforts of uncovering this and what others are doing, they're really not doing it. And this is what really gives us a true advantage with Trilogy, is offering virtual leasing. So like I mentioned, there is two types of virtual leasing that we're gonna kind of discuss and go through. So the first one is using technology in real time. So that being is Zoom meetings, FaceTime, Google Hangouts, the different ones here that you're seeing on your screen. These are all available to us right now that we could, if someone wants an actual live tour, it's like someone walking in our door saying, hey, I want to see a 2-bedroom home. These are all of our avenues that we're offering right now to give them that live tour, but not in person. As you know, all of our offices are closed at the moment to any foot traffic, but we're still available as people are wanting to see something or see something at that time. This right here, this first option, the using technology in real time, is not something the communities out there are actually doing. I think people, again, they're advertising it and they're saying they are. Just to kind of break this down, over the last 2 weeks, between all those individuals that I was just mentioning and myself, we have altogether have shopped over 30 different communities, which is a lot in the last 2 weeks. And I can say honestly, out of those 30, we've cumulatively only have probably got about 6 people who gave us a live type of tour, whether it was on Zoom or FaceTime options. So, not a ton of people offering these right now. The other one is sharing your screen while you're on a live tour. So again, taking one of these options that we just showed here, so Zoom, Facebook Messenger, whatever your avenue is, and you can share your screen live with that person. And we'll talk how to do that, where you can show a pre-recorded video, right? All those videos that you guys have been doing so great at making, you can play one of those on your screen. You can mute your volume on that video, and you can have a voiceover, right? You can talk during as you're showing them, and you can hit the pause button at any time and talk about those kitchen features. So this right here is a great example. I pulled one of our videos. So this is the residences at Streets of St. Charles, one of the videos they made, and I was able to pause it. And it's a great photo right there where we can see, the countertops and the appliances and the cabinets, flooring, all of that. And we can talk through what something will look like in the apartment home for that future resident. We can also share our website. We can show them how to apply online. We can show them how to get to certain things rather than just telling them, oh yeah, go to our website. Here's the web address. We can actually take it through with them and while sharing the screen and talking to them on the other side of the phone. So getting into that, how do we do that, right? But before we do so, this is hard right now. I know this is hard for all of us because it's a change. And I mentioned this, I was last week, I think, on our check-in call here with community managers. But what if we don't change at all? We just kind of sit around, keep doing what we're doing. You think something magical is going to happen? Is the magic going to happen? I don't know. Or with that, sorry, that's come up 3 times there, but we've got these guys here with saying, hey, I've got some wheels. You want to put that on your box of rocks there? And no, thanks, we're too busy, right? Innovations are usually not quickly understood and accepted. So with our virtual leasing, and this is Edge to Learn here, they shared this on their Instagram a couple days ago, but with everything that we're going into with virtual leasing, we know that this change is hard. We know that, trying to do new things on top of maintaining what we're doing day to day in our leasing offices, it's hard work. But we have to try to see how we can accommodate and adjust to what our prospects are needing, right? Because look, our leasing trend, it's going to continue to drop if we don't change, if we don't look at other avenues that we can do with our prospects. It's really going to be hard later in the game to get that back up if we're not adjusting what we're doing right now. And any traffic that's coming in now, we should have a higher conversion because we're probably not getting those looky-loos that we normally get, just kind of stopping in, oh, I want to see what you have available. Not really sure when I'm moving. We're not probably getting a lot of that. We're more so getting, yeah, I need to move and I need to move in June. Maybe it's for a job transfer. There's specific reasons why people are really looking right now. So every lead is 10 times more important now than it was ever before because we need to really be honing in and capturing them the best way possible. So what are our comps doing and not doing, right? So this is what I was just mentioning that we've been studying and looking at the last couple of weeks. Some of the cons. So lack of urgency. I am going to, again, call out Josh and Ashley and Megan and Casey and Sherry. You guys know this. Every single one of you that did those shops, that were shopping around and looking, you each communicated back how people weren't even answering their phones or they weren't even responding to the guest cards that you were submitting. Any other feedback? Josh, Ashley, I know you guys are on the call. feel free to chime in if you have anything else to add with what you're seeing or what you're discovering out there.
I don't really have anything else to say. It's actually, I just couldn't believe like the lack of responses that I was getting. It's like people just wanted to send me a link and just be done with me. That was it. It was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And that's exactly what I encountered too. I mean, I could barely get in touch with people. I felt like I was almost hounding them with sending them an email request on their website, filling out a guest card, to then going on their Facebook and writing a message to them, to still getting nothing, to then calling them, trying 2 different numbers, to eventually getting through to them, or maybe not at all. But people just
Yeah.
weren't responding to me. So I was like, all right. Huh. Or I would talk to some people and they would, yeah, I'll send you an email. I've got a pre-recorded video. They wouldn't really say pre-recorded. They would say, I've got a video of that apartment I can show you. But then nothing would be sent. I wouldn't even get an email from them.
Same.
Or they would send me something, like Ashley was just mentioning. They wouldn't offer me any type of tour. They would just say, yeah, I'll send you some pictures and a video. And that would be it. That's all I would get out of them. And that was majority of the most that would want to try to send me something, but nobody was actually trying to set up a tour with me, a virtual tour. There was no connection made, no rapport, meaning nobody was actually even asking me questions. They were just, you're looking for a 2-bedroom. When do you want to move? Great. I've got one I can send you. Here you go. That's it. They didn't want to know why I was moving. And believe me, I had a story made up. Every single person that I was calling, I wanted to make sure I knew my story. I wanted to know like what jobs were hiring in that area, so I knew where I was telling them where I was going to work. I had all these stories made up. I didn't have to tell one person why I was moving. I didn't have to tell one person my new job I was going to have. And I was excited for those new fake jobs, let me tell you. They didn't want to hear my story. So let's talk about some of the pros. So there were, out of the handful of communities that I did shop, I did get 2. Yes, 2. Can you believe that? 2 actual tours, both on FaceTime that they were offering me. And one gave me the choice, meaning what did I prefer to use. And so I told them FaceTime because it was easier for me. And then once I did schedule the FaceTime, this one community sent me this email, which I thought was awesome. They gave me an email to kind of help prepare me. And so it gave me all these bullet points on how to prepare myself for the tour, especially if I'm not good with technology. I thought this was great. So I do have something like this made up, an email template that I will have available for you guys, because I thought this was a great takeaway from one of the communities that I worked with, just how to prepare your upcoming tour with your prospects so they're prepared when they get on with you. So this will be available for you guys afterwards. But what did I learn in all of this? I learned we have a real advantage to really get ahead of all the comps out there, because what I know based off of talking to everyone that helped in this project and what I experienced, this is an area where we could soar in. How are we going to do this? All right, let's get into that. So Zoom. Zoom is something, if you did not know, we have available in each community right now. So Danielle set up every single property for a Zoom account. So it's a team login, so it's not individual logins, but they are a team login. And believe it or not, Trilogy's not the only one to get on the Zoom bandwagon, so to speak. I was talking to some people, other people, doing leasing and things out there. And, a lot of them are like, yeah, I don't think people want to do this. They don't know how to use it. They don't know, how to do things. And I don't know if I agree with that statement, because I know personally myself, I'm using it day to day in my personal interactions, meaning my kids have Zoom meetings with their classroom. They've got all the kids on there with their teacher and they're doing the Zoom learning. So I know that, again, a lot of other schools are offering that. It's not just schools that are doing it. I know zoos and aquariums, they're offering it for walkthroughs. Doctors' offices, the teledocs, those are available. Families are doing them for personal, check-ins. I know that I have a family call every week with my parents and in-laws and sisters and brothers, everybody. We're all on it, and it's pretty cool. I know that people have done happy hour resident events. Our local apartment association has done a happy hour on it. But there's a lot of different things that people are doing on Zoom. So Zoom might have not been a big thing 2 to 3 months ago. But as you're seeing these things come on your screen right now, these are all news articles in the last probably 2 to 3 weeks that have come out there. That Zoom is this overnight sensation almost, right? With kind of meeting that virtual need that everybody needs at the moment since we're all on these stay-home orders. So Zoom is very much used. So even though you might think that it's not big, because maybe you're personally not using it that much, a lot of our prospects are using this in their day-to-day interactions. So it's something that, maybe we should look into a little bit more. And that's why we have that as an option for us. So like I mentioned, Danielle set everybody up. And so I'm actually going to give control over here to Danielle here in a minute. And she sent this email out. This is the email that you're seeing on the screen right now, where she gave login instructions to each community and then the how-to. So this is the how-to here on your screen. So this is the email that Danielle sent on how to set it up on your computer. Now we're going to go through how to set it up on your computer, which Danielle's going to do here in a minute. And we're going to also go through how to set it up on your phone app, because there's 2 different ways that you can set up a Zoom meeting. And like I mentioned, at any point you guys have a question in anything we're talking about, please feel free to interrupt, because again, you may not be the only one with the question that you're thinking. So questions are definitely wanted. So Danielle, I'm going to go ahead and give this over to you and make you the presenter. All right, Danielle, you have access now.
All right. Okay, so everybody can see my screen and you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so when you're logging in, you can see I've already got it set up and I'm going to walk you through. So enter the credentials I sent you. When you hit sign in, it'll pop up. And then pardon this, but now we're in here and you can see you've got a couple options where you can hit schedule meeting. So you're just going to click on schedule meeting. Don't change anything in here. You want to keep this the same. So when you click on schedule meeting, this is where you're going to fill in whatever you need to. So we'll put you're going to put your prospective's name along with the tour of what unit they're going to be touring. So we're going to put this as sorry, people. And you want to list who's doing this tour. So we'll just put in here. So that way you know when it comes time. So you've got the prospective's name, the unit you're touring, and who's actually touring. And then you're going to schedule it. Let's say it's for tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. You probably won't take a full hour, but you want to just leave this alone then. So if there's any questions or if they need any, if they stop you and say go back, then you're not double booking anything. It is now required with Zoom that you have to have a meeting password. And this is just a safety security, as we've all heard about. So the only thing I would change is enable join before host so that your perspective doesn't have to wait till you join. And then in case for whatever reason you're running late, and then unclick enable waiting room. Then all you do is hit save. It's just that easy. So now it comes time, it's here. You want to send it to your prospective resident. You're going to click copy invitation. It's right here. You click copy meeting invitation, and then you would open up your Outlook, open up a calendar invite, or even respond to an email and just paste it in there and send it to them. Please remind your prospective residents that if they're on a computer, they can just click through on the link. If not, if they want to use a tablet or their phone, they're going to download the app. The app is free, but they have to, it will not allow them to join the meeting without downloading the app. So you do want to let them know that ahead of time so that it can start on time and that you're not waiting for them to do this. So when you're done copying and pasting, you can hit cancel, and then you're done for setting that up. Now, when it comes time, we've got meetings, just to take us back, and you see I've got a couple different meetings scheduled here. So at this point, then you know which meeting is yours, which is why it has to be clearly labeled instead of just, you know, Jessica tour and no unit or anything. This is a great way to see. So then we know who's doing what. And you want to make sure you have those buffers in there because you cannot have 2 tours on Zoom at the same time, which is why I say leave it alone. So when it comes time, all you have to do is hit start. And then it'll take you through this and you'll say open Zoom meetings. And then your Zoom will pop up and then you can start your tour. Now, for instance, say it's connecting, say that you need to share, you want to do this virtual tour, but you also need to show them you're going to do the pre-recorded for whatever reason. You can't leave the office, you can't go do a tour. So if that's the case, all you're going to do is click this bottom button that's green that says share screen. And when you hit share screen, you will pick what you're going to do. And we're going to make sure this is up. So that I can do that. You'll hit share. You've got it all preloaded. You hit play and make your screen big so they can see everything. It'll take a second. So you can walk everybody through. And if they say, oh, wait, pause, I want to go back to the refrigerator, you can back everything up and then talk over everything. Make sure you mute your video if you're doing the pre-recorded video so that you can talk over it and share the features of the unit. So then you can come back, hit play and say, see, yep, everything. We've got stainless steel appliances and we've got the microwave and the stove, etc. And you can walk yourself through. And then when you're done sharing it, yep.
I just want to interrupt. So why is this important? Why, you know, it's like, well, maybe you're watching this right now and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to email them the link like I have been. What's the purpose, right? So here's why this is a great avenue or a great option is if you can't take them on that actual live tour through Zoom or whatnot, maybe it's raining out or something's happening, but this is a great option because you can still develop that rapport with the person, talking to them, getting to know them like you would on a live tour, right? So this is a great way versus just, you know, talking to them on the phone. You might forget certain things. I mean, I know I forget certain things and I kind of always hang up that phone call and then I'm like, oh, I should have asked them about this or that, right? And so things come up when you're on that tour, just like you would live, right? When you're giving a live in-person tour, things come up when you're in the apartment showing them things, or maybe they make a comment, wow, that's a lot of counter space I'm seeing right now. I love to craft. I like to craft. And so that's a great spot for me to craft at or cook or whatever it is, right? And so then you may not know for that phone call, if you're trying to develop the rapport before sending them the link, you maybe didn't know that they were a crafter you know, arts and crafts, if you didn't know what I was mentioning, sorry, but arts and crafts, maybe you didn't know that. And so this is a great way to kind of continue building that rapport, is being with them as they're going through and seeing this, where you can pause and talk about certain features. So this is why it's important as another outlet versus just sending them those links. Because like I said, just based off my experience and what I was hearing from everyone that was helping, people are just so quick that I could get in touch with. They were just so quick to send me something. They didn't want to get to know anything about me or build that rapport. And we're still in sales, guys. We're still leasing. So we have to still develop that rapport, build that connection with them. It's not just kind of sending a quick send the link button and be done with them. So this is where the why or the importance is in this. So sorry, Danielle, to kind of hijack here.
No, absolutely, because I was going to say that it really makes a difference if you make that connection. So say you need to resume the tour, or you finished and now it's time to chat with them. And this is the reason why. You can stop the share, and you see how I hover over it, and you just click stop share, and it'll stop it. And then you can flip to sharing your camera if you want, so that you can go back and having that in-person contact with your prospective tenant. So when you're on here, if you're on an iPad or another tablet, you do want to make sure that you hit the camera here. Right now it says it's got that line. That means the video's not showing, and you would hit start video so that you can have that one-on-one experience. Does anybody have any questions, or did you want me to go back to this at all? Okay, so then when you're done with your perspective, you're just gonna hit end meeting, and then end meeting for, I wanna make sure, yeah, end meeting for all. And you are good to go.
All right, so I'm gonna share my screen again. So we'll be back on mine. So everyone should still be able to see my screen okay here. Everyone good?
Yep.
All right, thank you. I was gonna say, I'll take the quiet as good. Thanks, Danielle, for showing how to go through on the computer and set up a Zoom meeting. Zoom is great because, look, if you're sitting on this webinar right now, and maybe you're like, I don't want people to have my phone number, that's my personal phone number. That's okay, because guess what? I hear you on that. Zoom, you're not sharing a phone number. It's just a link. So that's where, if you wanted to go in the apartment and show them how to do this again, on the phone, we're going to go through, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing that Danielle just did on your phone. So there is a Zoom app, and the same thing, you're not sharing your phone number. You're just sharing a link, and you can be in that home on your personal device, so your smartphone, and you can be showing them that home without sharing your personal phone number with that prospect. So again, now if you download the Zoom meeting app, it's available on all Androids, iPhone devices. You'll download the Zoom app, which again, you'll see the picture in the top right. When you download it, you'll go ahead and on the bottom here, you'll see sign in. So on sign in, you'll enter in those same credentials that Danielle said to you already. Excuse me, I had a cough real fast, so I had to mute myself. So you'll go ahead and sign in with those same credentials. And then when you get in, you see then this screen here. This is your landing page or your dashboard. And when you get in, you can go ahead and either start a meeting or schedule a meeting, whatever the preference is based off what you're doing. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to schedule a meeting from your phone if you did not do it from the computer. So the next screen is after you hit schedule, which again, schedule is on this screen here. You'll see schedule right at the top. You can hit this button here to schedule something. Once you hit that, you're going to get this page here to schedule the meeting. So you'll go ahead and type in again the prospect's name, what they're touring, and include the leasing professional if you'd like on who's taking that tour. It's helpful, like Daniel was mentioning, it's helpful to include the prospect name and what they're looking at because things happen. What do I mean? you know, maybe there's well, all of us, we all have multiple people in our leasing offices. Maybe someone's sick or can't come in, and that tour was scheduled for tomorrow, and that person called off, right? So we all have this where we can all log in, have the same login, and we can see what tours are available. So that tour is still coming in, or that tour should still happen, even if someone is off that day. So this is where it's important that you have the prospect's name, so you can go into CRM and see the information on that person, you know, what the conversation was like, you know, why we're doing a tour of, again, now that specific apartment you've listed, so that you know what you're showing them. So this is the reasoning why you'll want to label it accurately rather than just say tour 123. Not so beneficial. So make sure you're labeling it. And then again, you can start the date and the time. So I've scheduled it for today, later this afternoon. It'll be for 1 hour. And then that meeting requirement, you'll swipe that. If you keep scrolling, this is what the bottom part of it will look like. So again, this is all auto-filled. You'll want to make sure that this is the enable wait room though. You have this swiped over because we don't want them to sit in a waiting room. So just make sure, like Danielle was mentioning, we're not having them sit in a waiting room. And then from there, you can email the link. If you have email set up or the Outlook set up on your phone, like your work email, not your personal email, you can go ahead and send them the link here, or you can, again, copy and paste that link and send it to yourself to then send it from your work computer, whatever you prefer. So then when you go back to your home screen, you can see that meeting's in here in the meeting section at the bottom where you can click into it and start a meeting. So let's say now Danielle's version of showing you guys how to do it on the computer. Maybe you pre-made that meeting or that tour. You pre-made it like I just showed you. So I made one for later this afternoon. So you took a phone call this morning, you make a tour for later this afternoon. Now you can go into your phone, the app, and open that same meeting while standing in the apartment on your phone. So this is how you'll do it. So again, you'll click into the Danielle tour of the Camden floor plan, and you'll go ahead and hit the start button here. And so when you hit start, it'll ask you to share your screen. It'll ask you, you know, share your camera, just similar to, again, how Danielle was showing you on her computer version. It'll ask you how you want to be in that meeting. So you don't have to pay for the Zoom app. It's completely free for you to download. And you do not need to share your personal number with prospects. Just log in with that same credential that Danielle gave you. Now, I know that was a lot of information on how to set it up on the computer, how to set it up on the app. Does anyone have any questions right now? Danielle and I are available anytime. If this was too fast, too much, you know, feel free to reach out to one of us, and we are available to walk you through, you know, some personal one-on-one training on going through setting things up on the computer and on your phone for Zoom. But like I mentioned, you guys each have the Zoom accounts right now, so, you know, please use those, give those as an option so people can see apartments live in person. But before we move on, any questions? All right. I will take the silence as we are good. Cool. So let's talk about these tips and tricks now. So like I mentioned, I've been able to take a few live tours. And I know, again, the helpers, so Josh, Ashley, Sherry, Casey, Megan, all of you. So they also have been able to take a few. And so some tips and tricks, some best practices based off of these tours that we have been taking virtually. Let's go through those. Now, just so you know, I do have a PDF available with all of these listed. So I will send that out with that email template on how to prepare for a virtual tour. So I'll send those to you guys following this webinar so you have that available to you. So let's go through the first one. So number one, people want to see you. They want to see you. Yes, we are showing the apartment, but this is the value of taking in-person tours. People want to work with people. Still sales, still in that same process. So by them seeing you at the start of the Zoom meeting or the start of the FaceTime meeting, and then you at the end of a tour, adds so much value. It's helping you build the rapport so they know who's the voice on the other side. I mean, I know it seems like it's so easy just to start that Zoom meeting and be standing in the kitchen and showing them the kitchen and start talking, but people want to know the face to the voice. I mean, how many times or sometimes you're on the phone with people and maybe you start picturing what they look like as they're talking, right? They're doing the same thing to you too. So it adds that human element where you can show your face at the start of the meeting and at the end of the tour. You can flip your camera around just like you can if you guys have used it for FaceTime or Google Duo or, any type of web virtual conversations you've had. You can flip your camera to be your front lens or your selfie lens. But like I said, maybe start out in selfie mode so they see you. You can wave at the camera, give them a nice smile, and then flip it around to where you're standing so they can view the home. That way they can connect with you. They can see your expressions. But again, you might not be standing in front of them, but it gives them the feeling of being there with you. So it's not, something fake that they're feeling. So show yourself. 2, this is one I personally can sometimes struggle with. I know I am a fast talker, so sometimes I want to zoom through things. I've done some virtual recordings and virtual things, and I go really fast, I'll notice, to the point where when I'm rewatching it, I make myself dizzy. So, I have to make sure that I'm clearly communicating. I slow down in what I'm talking about, showing people that I care, and I make that connection, right? I'm talking to them, asking them questions, getting to know them. I'm confident in what I'm showing them and our community and the information. And that's the whole point in all of these live virtual tours is this piece right here is, I can make that connection, show my confidence, and show I care. So this is a big value for us. Bump up the energy. Personally, I know I have a ton of energy, but when we come through on the phone, you want to have more energy than you would in person. Here's why, because think about your favorite TV host that you watch, right? So Ellen DeGeneres, Andy Cohen, for my Bravo fans out there, Chip Gaines, HGTV, right? They have a lot of energy, but they're entertaining, right? We want to keep watching them. So I also like Judge Judy, by the way, but I mean, she's not the nicest. So at the same time, that's hard. So anyway, that's just a side fact there. But again, Ellen DeGeneres, Chip Gaines, Andy, they have high energy. And so it's something that, again, you want to keep watching what's going to come next. So think about that for yourself. It might seem weird or not natural, but virtually you do want to bump up your energy more so you can keep your prospect engaged in what you're showing. Have that fluctuation in your pitch of your voice. Now, this is my point that I was just trying to say of who I am. More energy doesn't mean to talk faster. Again, I'm that fast talker, I know. So I have to slow down, make sure I'm not talking too slow where they're kind of like, is there a connection issue? What's going on here? But enough to where they can understand what I'm saying and they can, again, see what I'm showing them without whipping my camera around too fast. 3, guys, this is business as usual, meaning virtual leasing is not that much different than in-person leasing, someone walking through the door. I mean, if someone walked in our door 2 months ago, pre-COVID, and they said, hey, I want to see your 2-bedroom. We're not going to be like, meh, sorry. I'm just going to email you a link, okay? Have a great day. Talk to you later. No, we would take them on a tour. We want that sale. So it's the same thing of virtual leasing. Virtual leasing is doing a live tour with them via virtually. You want to get to know them, know their story. Ask the same questions that you would in person. Don't just quickly get off the phone with them and want to send them a link. Like I said, this is one of the things that I caught people weren't doing. And I had a story, like I was saying. I wanted to tell them my story. then you uncover, you kind of dig out what their needs are by, again, talking to them more so virtually, doing that live tour. You find out more things that they like by showing them around. But again, you need to know what they're looking for and what you have to offer. You can't just show them that 1 2-bedroom that you pre-recorded and think that this is it. I know that some people have been leasing that way, and it has worked some places. But when it comes to that connection piece, that's not going to continue to work. People are going to want to see what you have, and they want to see it in person just to be able to ask you those questions while standing in that apartment. So take that time up front on the phone to know their full story. Don't cut the corners to send them something really fast. That's what I feel like a lot of people are doing, is cut corners. 4, offer the virtual tour. Offer it. This is something that people just aren't even doing. And secret, we aren't doing it either. So cat's out of the bag, I'll just let you know. I know a few of you know because I called you guys and told you, but I've been having some friends call around, shop our own Trilogy communities just to see how we're doing it. Because I was just floored, just like Ashley was saying. I was floored how many people weren't even calling me back or even offering me a tour. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. We're awesome. Like, we're all doing it. We're all offering tours. Wasn't the case though. When I was calling around a few communities, not me, but my friends, we weren't even offering them a virtual tour. Same story. We were just wanting to send them a link at a few of the properties. Now, I do have to say that a couple people, they did offer my friend that virtual tour, so it was great. But this is one of the main best practices that I took away is give your prospect the option. Don't you narrow that window for them, meaning I'll just send you a link, right? Give them the option. Hey, here's what I have available. How would you like to take a tour? I'm happy to send you a Zoom link. I have FaceTime. I have, whatever other avenues that you have available on your phone, but we know Zoom, we all have. So I have a Zoom I can offer you, or if you prefer, I can send you a pre-recorded video and some pictures, or I can offer you a self-guided. What would you like to do? Give your prospect the option. Don't narrow the window and just assume they're going to want a pre-recorded video or send them pictures. Let them know that they can take a virtual tour. This is one of the things that when I was calling around, no matter how many times I would ask, hey, can we do a virtual tour? Yeah, I'll send you a link. No, like, can we do like something in person? Like a Zoom, or like I started having to give people the options myself. Like, do you offer a Zoom? Do you offer a FaceTime? Yeah, not yet. Yeah, we do. Like, people weren't comfortable with it. I get it. It's not our comfortable level, but we have to give our prospects the option. Use descriptive words to highlight when you're giving that tour in the home. They're not there with you, right? They're on the phone and they can see, but it's really hard to kind of envision, just like it is when you're giving a tour in person. It's hard to envision things. And when you're developing that rapport and you're asking questions, maybe you're asking what type of furniture they have. Maybe they told you they just bought a new 60-inch TV. Wow. So then you can let them know, you mentioned it's important that your living room furniture fits. So this wall that you see right now, I'm showing on my screen, right? So this wall that you see next to the fireplace, it's 8 feet in length. So your TV would definitely fit there, right? Have them picture it. But use those descriptive words. Hey, you mentioned you've got a king size bed. So a king size bed will fit in here comfortably with 2 nightstands, dresser, and have them, again, as you're standing in that bedroom or that master bedroom, have them see it. So this here came from a survey that's out right now that Satisfax did with prospective buyers and with people that are touring virtually. So they say, during video tours, I became the eye of the buyer. I'm talking more than I would on a traditional tour, pointing out the things that would be obvious in person, but they're not as clear through the lens. So maybe the quality of workmanship, like maybe you have crown molding, or they mentioned the king size bed that we were just talking about. So keep that in mind when you're on the phone. You still want to point those descriptive words out. Be interactive with the apartment. You know, some of us have built-in ice makers, or we have built-in shelving in the pantries. So, you know, open those cupboards, open the refrigerator door when you're on that tour for them to see, just like they would if they were there getting that tour in person. You would be wanting them to interact with the apartment home to see, again, they can vision using these spaces and how their things would fit in here. So as you're showing them, you yourself interact with the apartment so they can kind of get a vision into what those cupboards look like. All right, I just got a question through the chat box here. Sorry to stop. So question was, while shopping comps, besides sending a link, did you get offered a self-guided tour? No, I did not get offered a self-guided tour either. I asked, even though I was not even in the same states as every single place that I called. I only called one place that was actually in Michigan, but everywhere else was outside of Michigan that I was calling. But no, I even said, like, can I stop by to see it? It's in person. A lot of people gave me the COVID response, how they're not doing live tours, but they can send me a virtual pre-recorded link essentially. So no, nowhere else were they offering self-guided when I was calling around. Ashley, Josh, Megan, Sherry, not sure if anyone offered you a self-guided when you were doing any shops.
Hey, it's Casey. I was lucky on the shops that I did. Both of the people, I called two places. Both of them called me, well, answered immediately. One was only offering pre-recorded virtual tours. And then the other place offered me an actual live virtual tour, like on the spot at that time. So I did actually get one.
You got a like a FaceTime tour, you're saying?
Yes.
Yep. Did you get offered a self-guided at all?
Oh, self-guided, sorry. No, neither. One place I tried calling them back because I forgot to ask that question, and I never got a call back. And then the other place that gave me like the live tour, they were not offering virtual or in-person tours, whatever, self-guided tours, sorry.
Awesome. No, that helps. Thanks.
Hey,
Megan,
it's Megan. Yeah, sorry. So I didn't have any luck at all. So I called one place in Tulsa and they weren't doing anything. They didn't even get my name. Like they didn't get my name, phone number, nothing. So they just directed me to their website. The other two that I called, one person was pretty descriptive over the phone, but they weren't doing anything except for pictures and videos on their website. And then the third place, which was actually in Chicago, they wouldn't even return my phone calls. So instead of returning a phone call, they sent an email, and then I tried to get them to set up a time to call me, and then they never would respond. So I actually didn't get to go on I didn't see anything other than websites. So
yeah, crazy, huh? All right. Well, thanks for the input. Seriously, all the work that you guys did to help with this was awesome. All right. So the other tip that we took away is look at the lens, not the screen. So this is super hard. I know that I was talking to somebody within Trilogy about this as well. It's really hard not to look at yourself, right? It's kind of a natural tendency to, oh, look at my hair. How do I look today, right? It's really hard to not do that. But really try practice is my biggest tip, to look at that lens, wherever the lens is on your phone, or if it's an iPad or whatever you're using, and not actually look at yourself. One thing that you can do as well, which by the way, tip for everybody that's on Zoom meetings with Trilogy. So you can actually, if you're on a Zoom call with somebody and you're doing the Zoom call with them where it's again face-to-face, you're seeing them, you can actually remove your face on that Zoom where they can still see you and you can see them, but you're just not looking at yourself in that Zoom meeting. So there's an option when you click on the camera to take you off of that. Again, they can still see you, so it's not removing you. It's just removing yourself from seeing you, if that makes sense. So you're not staring at yourself, because it's really awkward, I know. But I know it's harder to do when you're on the phone. But like I said, it's really easy to look at ourselves when we're on these calls. But it's important that you're looking at the lens where you're looking at them, so to speak, and it's helping you build that connection. It's kind of like eye contact, right? When you're in person with somebody, you're making eye contact. So being that this is hard to do, the biggest tip, especially I do it myself, is I just have to continually keep practicing. Practice is the biggest thing to really try to kind of get out of that habit. All right, my 8th tip on this is check in often. Slow down with the prospects. So when you're on the call with them, ask them questions such as, how does this look to you when you're in the home giving the tour, right? Tell me your thoughts. Is there anything else you'd like to see? So like I was mentioning, moving too fast on the camera, it'll make people dizzy. You know, so I've even seen some pre-recorded videos where I've been watching, but they go really fast that it's hard for me to kind of watch, that I have to kind of slow them down myself personally watching them, because it's just too fast, kind of makes me dizzy. So that was something that I know that Sherry, if you're on the call, I'm calling you out. I know you mentioned this was a great piece for you when you were shopping around comps, that he asked for your feedback when you were getting the virtual tour. He even said, telling you he was new to this, so you giving that input to him was helpful. Did you want to add anything on that when it came to the tours that you did? Sorry to call you out here, Sherry.
Yeah, no, he did really good downtown, one of the apartments downtown, and he was, very interactive with me and asking questions. I had another one that wasn't very well prepared, and she was showing me the bathroom and like shut the toilet lid, and when she did, the camera followed it. And it was just kind of, we don't want to up close of our toilet for sure. So it's just look at that apartment beforehand and make sure everything is the way you want it to be when you show it to them. And then another thing that I've been telling my team is to make sure that you call when somebody puts in a web request or a guest card. Like, I feel like I didn't get any personal call. Like, it was just all the emails at first. And I think right now it's really important to actually talk to somebody instead of just sending them an email.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are helpful. Thank you. All right, tip 9. Hold the phone or your iPad in landscape mode. So all this does is it makes it that wider view for your prospects, so they see things bigger versus the opposite. I always call it hot dog style and hamburger style. So this is the hamburger style. So hold it the hamburger style so they can see things a little bit larger than the hot dog style. They can see a full screen. They can really see that tour and everything that you're showing. And some other tips, just kind of again in that tour, is, if you're using your smartphone or your smart device, there is an option, I'm sure we all know about it, but you can put your do not disturb on when you're about to take a tour. So if you are on a Zoom meeting, you're not getting, personal text kind of popping through on your screen here, or having something come through that you don't want your prospect to see. So you can turn your do not disturb on while you give that tour, and obviously turn it back off when you get off the call, but just kind of helps. Another thing which you guys may pick up on as you've been doing some Zoom calls is turn your audio, so your volume, all the way to max, because sometimes we may not hear you as well if your volume isn't all the way up. It's not picking it up. And again, dress professionally. I know that we do have our business casual that we have. And so when we announced the business casual, we did say to bring a change of outfit. I can't tell you that the few that I did have, they were professionally dressed, which is great. I did have one that was questionable in their attire. So we're still trying to make an impression on our prospects. So, if you're giving these tours, please make sure that you are dressed business casual, you know, having a nice top on. I know that JC sent an updated email on this, but we want to make sure that we are still presenting. Tip 10. So like Sherry was just saying, close those toilet lids. So go and walk the apartment home before you actually take that virtual live tour. Get there, you know, 5 to 10 minutes before you're supposed to start. Prepare the home. So turn the lights on, open the blinds, make it as bright as possible. You'll pick up on it if you start watching some pre-recorded videos. Some are a lot brighter than others. Some are very dark because lights aren't turned on. So it looks a lot better when all of our lights are on, the blinds are open, and we're getting the brightness in there. Open doors, you know, it's not making it feel like a small space. Check the bathrooms, Sherry mentioned, so you're not closing the toilet lids when you're on the tour or showing someone the inside of a toilet bowl when you walk into the bathroom to show them. This happened to me as well. So, you know, like I said, prepare the home and get ready for that tour. Just a handy tip, which I've learned myself as I've been doing more and more calls. I'm currently on one right now, is having some type of headset. If you're on that Zoom meeting, you can plug in, you know, your headset to, like if you've got ones like you see here in the picture, plug into your phone, people can hear you better. You'll also pick this up if you watch some of those pre-recorded videos, especially in vacant homes, our voices will echo. So it's hard to really kind of hear. I did do a FaceTime tour with an apartment in Chicago as well. And so that one, it was a very big open space. It had the hardwood floors. She was very echoey the entire call. She didn't have a headset on. She was doing, like I said, that FaceTime. So it was really hard to kind of hear what she was trying to tell me. So if you have some type of headset that you have for your phone or Bluetooth or whatever, I would just recommend using it just so that way your voice isn't echoing. One of the main reasons why I'm using it now too. So when I'm doing a training with whoever, I'm not echoing in my office. All right, I already mentioned it, but practice. The more that you do this, the more comfortable you're gonna get. Furthermore, you can record, right? Just like you probably did, and I had a few of you reach out that did this. So when you did those pre-recording movies or videos of all your vacants or available floor plans, some of you emailed back, hey, I redid this one. I didn't like how I looked or how I did this, so I wanted to redo it. You pick up things that when you can watch yourself. This is one of our biggest training tools that, you know, I use, especially when I'm onboarding or working with someone. Mock tours. I know that a few of you that are on the call, I've done mock tours with you where I've recorded you even. And it's a great opportunity where you could just watch yourself and you could just see where you want to update or what things you want to tweak. So it's the same thing with your virtual tours. Practice it, right? Go into a vacant and go take a tour like you would if you were to have someone on the phone, and you can record it and see how it went, what you thought, and edit how you see fit. But practice, the more you practice, the more comfortable you will get. So keep practicing. All right, we're almost done here. So 13, we're only gonna go to 15 tips here. So 13, how do you end a virtual tour? Well, here's the thing, let's ask for the sale, right? And I got this, I had a really great person in Chicago that it was actually hard to get off the phone with her. But she was like, what do you think? Are you ready to do your application? I can email you the link. I kept telling her, well, I got to think about it. I got to talk to my husband. I'm just shopping, right? So, but she kept trying to get me. She's actually already emailed me 3 times since we did our virtual tour last week. So she's trying. But ask for the sale. And if you don't get that sale, outline what the next steps are going to be. So, you know, how do they want to apply when and if they're ready? Make it easy for them, like she did for me. Just send them the link to your website of how to get to that application, or when you're going to follow up, right? Hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow to check in to see what you're thinking. Or schedule another virtual tour. Maybe they wanted to show their husband or their roommate or whoever. Maybe they had some lingering questions. So schedule another appointment to follow up with them and maybe have another meeting with them, Zoom meeting, whatever it is. So still do your ending with them, you know, flip that camera back at you. That's what this lady did when I was in Chicago, and, you know, try to figure out what those next steps are. But these are what those next steps should be when you're ending with them. And this was one of the great tips that I got. I know that I think Girish pointed out to Christine, one of the videos that she made at Reflection Cove, it really looks like a house hunters type of setup she did on like the font and the way it zooms into the video. But it's 100% right though. I mean, this is a great time that all this virtual leasing that we're doing, we could really learn from the pros. So if you've ever watched House Hunters, or one of my favorites, Fixer Upper, my poor husband, man, I get so many ideas from the show. But anyway, Fixer Upper or Property Brothers, you know, how do they show the homes off? Because you got to think about it, the camera's moving through the apartment, right? It's like a virtual tour. How are they doing it? So you can get some really great tips. You can get some great descriptive words on how they describe something. So I know this is new to us, but this is something that try to check out some of these shows when you get time and see how they're doing things, because it's a great way to kind of pick up those tips and tricks. All right. And the last one, be memorable. I think one of the most important. It's the same thing as in person. We want people to remember us. We want them to, you know, how are we being different than our competitors? This is something that we've got serious shoppers out there right now that are looking. How are we getting them versus them going somewhere else? So I know moving to virtual tours may feel like a major shakeup, but remember the key elements of leasing are still the same. Create a positive, memorable experience for your customer, right? We know your competitors aren't doing it, or they're not doing it well. We know this for a fact. You will stand out. Offer this. Be different. So with that, in ending, I want to let you guys know, so keep an eye out for our May newsletter. We are going to be setting up a virtual challenge when it comes to leasing. So it'll be announced in the May newsletter. We're going to do it for the month of May, but we are not doing, just so you know, secret shops right now. I know that I mentioned that I had some friends calling around. It's just to see how are we doing it, because I wanted to see if we were different or what we were doing. But we're not going to be going out and sending shoppers out. This isn't the time, so I wanted you guys to know that. But what you know, that if we do normally have shoppers, if you get a 90% or above, you have a chance to win a gift card, right? There's $50 gift cards and there's $100 gift cards. So with that, knowing that we're not doing mystery shops, we are going to be doing pulse checks, I guess you can say, where just internally we'll be calling just to check in, seeing how we're doing things. And if you know you guys are offering those virtual tours to your prospects, and again, that's not sending a pre-recorded link. That is offering a live virtual tour. We will send you guys a $25 gift card if you do it on that spot check. Or the other one that we have available too is if you put all of these things into action, if it's an amazing live tour, you have the chance for a $100 gift card, which is what we do for our shops, right? So there is going to be some money on the table for some opportunities through May, and I'm going to put it in the newsletter in more detail so you know. But remember, the best way to get better at this, or the way to make improvements, is really practice it. You know, go out and really try to, you know, try to test yourself and see what you can do with it, but make it fun. This is a real fun experience. So with that, that's all that I had. I know we went 4 minutes over, but does anybody have any questions, any comments they want to add from their experiences so far? I know we're all in this journey together, so feel free to add what you know.
Hi, it's Ashley from Streets.
Hi,
I would just say, as a tip, just to make sure that you guys walk all of the apartments beforehand, not only just to make sure that there's spiffed and lights on and things like that, but also like before Dylan does a tour, we practice together to make sure the reception's good. So we're an interior building, so a mid-rise, and we have spotty internet at times. So does this apartment need to be connected to Wi-Fi when we're in here? Do we not need to be on Wi-Fi in this apartment? Is this a dead zone? So just kind of making sure the reception is good in that particular vacant, I think, is really important.
great tip. Thanks, Ashley. Anybody else have anything? All right. Well, like I said, I will send out those deliverables to you guys, so you'll have that available. Please reach out if you need any help with Zoom meetings or anything in general when it comes to virtual leasing. If you haven't done so already, I already mentioned there's a handful that have helped in all of this preparing for today's training. Please shop your competition. You'll get a real idea of how things are going on right now. I know, again, people are saying they're doing virtual, but how are they doing it? So really kind of see what's going on out there, because we have a real advantage to really take Trilogy to the next level and kind of stand out. So, well, not kind of, but really stand out. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Make sure before you log out to just in the chat box include who is on today's webinar. Otherwise, that's all I have for today, and I hope you guys have an amazing Friday Eve. Thanks for joining.